All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle live for New York session. I'm your host, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market as we close out the week. So, without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions. Grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And as always, we start each and every day taking massive action, meaning that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, making sure that we are always centering ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, that we are trusting in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. We also want to always imagine our trades successfully materializing and that we are obeying our trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and that we are never, ever looking back or stopping once our trade has commenced. If everybody is all ready to go, do me a huge favor, drop me a big one in the chat. Let me know that you are all ready to go. I see all the mornings. Blessed morning. Good morning to everybody. Definitely excited to be here today. All right, so you guys can hear me loud and clear. So I got my little situation straight. So we're all good there, right? So let's move over and talk about it. Yesterday, we were waiting on the ECB to come through on Thursday, and they reduced, right, their refinancing rate as expected. So the forecast was for them to come from 4.25 down to 3.65. That's what they did. As far as um, the press conference yesterday, people were a little iffy, right? Everybody always looks for the forward guidance, trying to get some clarity on going forward. But to me, it was pretty much, hey, remaining data dependent. They're facing some headwinds, so we'll see going forward. But the cut came through as expected from the ECB yesterday. The United States, right? We saw the core producer price index came in slightly higher, right? So it was expected to be at 0.2%, came in at 0.3%. Month over month came in at 0.2%, forecast 0.1. And then we look at the unemployment claims. Expected was 227, came in at 230. So slightly up, but not too far off, right? So um, as far as the PPI, right, slightly higher, but still rising at a slower rate, right? Still rising at a slower rate. So still in some decent shape, but now you've got some speculation out there, of course, right? Best is always, you know, trying to figure out and gauge what's going to happen. Is it going to be 25 or 50 basis points? So the odds increased a little bit for a 50 basis point cut. I'm still leaning towards 20, 25, but um, we will see. So if we look at the dollar yesterday, we can see here that the dollar index fell towards 101 on Friday, extending losses from the previous session amid growing expectations that the Federal Reserve could act more aggressively when it starts cutting rates next week. Markets are currently assigning a 59% chance that the Fed would deliver a 25 basis point rate cut, with 41% odds seen for a larger 50 basis point reduction, according to the CME's Fed Watch tool. That was a significant change in pricing when the markets were almost certain that the Fed would opt for the modest quarter point rate following the U.S. consumer inflation report on Wednesday. Analysts pointed to media reports from Financial Times and Wall Street Journal suggesting the Fed's decision would be a close call, as well as higher U.S. Jobless claims as the main the main factors driving recent expectations. Meanwhile, data on Thursday showed that U.S. producer prices rose more than expected in August. So we shall see, right? So we'll see what happens. We will see. We will see what happens. As a result, though, right? We see of that speculation. We see that the dollar right, is taking a hit. So we've double topped on the daily. When we look at this index, right, we did not break back through that level, right? We have turned over. We are moving to the downside, okay, on the dollar index. So we are moving down, right? So the dollar's losing some steam there. Okay. Any questions on the DXY?
No,
Yes, sir.
No. All right. We can see here that the Eurozone industrial output falls in July. So industrial production in Euro area decreased 0.3% month over month in July, following a revised flat reading in June, and in line with expectations. Biggest declines recorded in durable and capital goods. Production in Germany fell 3%. And the most among the largest economies, year-on-year industrial output shrank 2.2%, right? So Lagarde said, hey, we're facing some headwinds, right, yesterday. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Russia hikes interest rates by 100 basis points. Look, gold set new record high, right? So we're trying to stay on pace and continue to move higher with gold, right? Trying to get to that 26 100 target, and we're up to 25,560 per ounce, right? So that's a new record high for gold. So we are moving in the right direction on that. Brent rises for the third straight session. Brent crude oil rose this up. So Brent crude oil rose to around 72.4 per barrel on Friday, advanced for the third consecutive session, supported by supply concerns stemming from the impact of Hurricane Francine on the U.S. Gulf of Mexico. Right. On Thursday, the hurricane shut down over 730,000 barrels per day, or 42% of crude oil production in the region. Despite this, a downside bias for oil persists due to worries of sluggish demand in major markets. Right? So they're saying this is temporary hits, right? 80-20, right? The IEA highlighted slowing global oil demand growth, particularly due to China's weakening economy, and forecasted a potential supply surplus in 2024, even if OPEC Plus maintains its production cuts. Earlier this week, data revealed that China's crude oil imports were 3.1% lower from July to August of 2024 compared to the same period last year. In the U.S., demand concerns have also heightened, with stocks of oil and fuel increasing. Nevertheless, oil is on track for its first weekly gain at 5 weeks, right? So we're looking at that as a correction, right? What we've been tracking and mapping out for oil. So our technicals are right in line with the fundamentals on this one. Now for today, right? We looked at this yesterday, fairly light day yesterday, right? I did not get to see what chairman, they don't even have anything, what he was speaking about yesterday. So must have been off topic from what we usually follow. Any questions regarding any of the fundamentals? Okay, so everybody's kind of eyeing, trying to figure out what that rate cut is going to look like from the Fed. A lot of back and forth. All righty. All righty. All right. So going over, right? Seeing as we're coming into the day, Friday, right? Markets open up, right? Free market a little bit risk off for the daily. So the weekly buys has been a big mix. But we do, right? We have seen the markets continue to rally. So if we take a look at S&P breakdown, all of the sectors, we were all green yesterday, right? We were all green, right? We're pre-market right now. We'll see what happens as we move throughout the day, right? And so look at that across the board. Communication services 1.8% up yesterday, right? So that was the consumer discretionary 1.13%. So the markets saw some gains. So if we move over and we'll take a look at our indices to start out this morning, get a beat on those, see what's going on. But before I do that, Move on. Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, bro. I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, I am doing great. It is Friday, the end of a crazy busy week. So a lot of events and things like this week. I know you've been busy as well. What's the latest on the fundamental front, man? I forgot to cover it. You probably got it on the top of your mind in regards to the yen.
Yeah, I actually just read an article where they're talking about uh BOJ not making a move until December. Around 53% of Japan watchers are expecting no change
Hmm.
until December. So I'm looking to gather more detail on that. Um, yeah, that's where I'm at so far. What else did you see?
Man, I was listening to a financial show this morning, and they were saying that hedge funds have shifted, continuing to shift their bets and allocate capital into the yen, betting on it strengthening. So
Mm,
yeah, but hey, that
yeah,
was our call anyway, right?
it was.
So
It was.
so yeah, that gave me some hope. Even though depending on which hedge fund you're looking at, the returns actually vary, but they seem like they're increasing their bets that yen is going to continue to show some strength moving forward into the future. So,
It makes sense.
yeah,
It makes
yeah,
complete sense.
yeah. We've seen the shifts. We'll check the quanta and the positioning, right? In the COT data, we can see, right? Here we are, 64.43%, right? You remember this used to be the worst performer, right? So
Hmm.
we can see that that has moved up. Of course, gold, everybody, right? That just continues to follow our narrative, 86.8%. Right? When you talk about gold longs, right? Followed by silver, right? We took a look at that yesterday, and the pound. Okay. See this oil, right? It's still 71.71, right? We see that move up. Right? That makes sense, right? If you've got even in the short term, if it's just a short term thing, taking advantage of what's going on in the Gulf, and so I got a feeling we'll see that shift eventually if things continue to go uh south for China. Uh, but that may catch up, right, and start to move that oil down a bit on the list. Still, the CAD is down, Swissy, US 10 year, right? We talked about that yesterday. So, that kind of falls in line with how we've been thinking, what we discussed in regards to uh 2 year versus the 10 year. So yeah, we're right on it as of right now. So appreciate you, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right, all right. So let's look at it, right? S&P 500. Right. Continue to see a rally. Okay, so we saw the sector breakdown. We saw increases across the board, and you can see we moved up, right? So we had a bullish day yesterday, continuing right to follow and map out um, these swing highs and swing lows on the daily chart and running positions off these levels, right? So there was our move down, right? And now we got our swing low, okay? And now we've got this move up. We've got this move up. So at the end of the day today, that'll be another low here. We've got our stochastic in the buy zone. We haven't seen a correction yet. Okay. On the lower time frames. I know we're looking at that 15-minute play. It broke that resistance and continued to move up. Don't believe it's hit an extension yet, but it's because we'll see today as early pre-market, right? So if we go back to our risk gauges, we're coming out the gate, uh, right? Saying risk off there. We'll continue to watch and monitor and see what happens once the markets open. So that's the S&P 500. If we go down to take a look at the 4 hour on our S&P, Here we'll run a fib, right, off our lows. This latest move here, right, took that out, then we reversed out. So we're just extended, right? If we come down to the one, this thing is just running. Look at that, right? So we should be beyond that on our 15 right now, but we're in this area here on the 1 hour. But we'll see what happens, see if the market continues to rally. But overall, right, we are bullish on the S&P, bullish on the S&P. Right, I didn't even get a chance to add, man, on those ETFs because I messed up my math on the not realizing the leverage change depending on whether it was the ETF or indices. So I
Yeah, I
I
wasn't able
I,
to add it.
I had to
Only
I had to
one I
lay off
added on
that dip.
was SCHG.
Oh, SDHG.
Yeah, I was able to add to that one, but that's the only one I
Okay,
was able to add to also.
man, I didn't. Man. So at least you were able to do that. I didn't get to. I had to sit through it, but it's good because it's recovering nicely. But and it'll eventually move higher. But my initial plan was to add to the positions on the dip, but I had eaten up too much of my margin, so I didn't want to risk it. But so there we are on the S&P continuing to move long, right? We look at this US 30 on the 4 after our 80-20 swing, we can see, right, that we pushed out to the edge of the buy zone, moving higher there, right? Move that up, take a look at it on the daily, right? And you can see here that we've got some room to run, okay? Room to run there, okay? ABCD wave, we were talking about the potential for the crown, right? And you can see, right, where it pulled back there, right? So we'll see if we can continue to rally, right? See if we can get the markets to continue to rally. Uh, like they said now, right? You're getting things start to increase, right? So bets are starting to increase for a larger rate cut. We'll see if the Fed gets more aggressive. Uh, but if they do, you definitely continue to see this rally here. So at the uh, end of the day, right? That'll be a new swing low and a continued move to the upside. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. Any questions on the US 30?
No, sir.
Nope.
All right. Let's move down. Take a look at this NASDAQ 100, right? Really good rally. Really good rally out of that. The 4 hour chart out of that buy zone, right? 80-20. Got the reversal. Moving nicely. Okay. Moving nicely, moving long, right? So right, there we are on the daily. So again, here's our recent low. We put in that swing low, 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right, and we've rallied off of that. Stochastic still in the bottom. Any questions on the NASDAQ?
Nope.
All right. Pretty clean for the for the most part, right? Here is the Nikkei, right? So it's trying to rally as well. Okay, so we can see here. Let's look at I saw something else. I have to maybe it was right. So trying to move to the upside, Nikkei, but we can see, right? We put that low in and we are running, right? So we're pulling back a bit, right, as we start the day. Um, but But we can see where if we close out higher, you're gonna have another low here. Right? So we put this there. Okay. That, right there. So you see how we finished, closed out, and we'll see if it recovers. Right? It continues to push higher, like so. Right? So the Stochastics in the buy zone. And so like to see that continue to move, right? So we move down to what we looking like here, right? So this is just going, come down to one, right? So we can see, right? We'll see if it continues to move lower, right? Or if we get a bounce off this level, we get a bounce off that level, we get it continue higher. But for the most part, made a nice little move to the upside, then we pull back. We're retesting this. So we'll see what happens there. So that's your 225. Taking a look, move over to UK 100, look at the FTSE, right? So kind of just grinding this way, right? So we're still within that AB boundary. This is the 1 hour play. Okay. Kind of just moving sideways. Just moving sideways. So let me clear this off. And we'll take a look at this from the daily. Kind of just in a range, right? It's in a range. The Kazakhs in the buy zone. We're ranging pretty good there. So definitely not my favorite play. It's not as clean as some of the other moves, right? So we might want to hold off of that one there. Russell, right? The daily continuing, right? To rally. Okay. We'll have an official swing low here today, right? And see if we can let this continue to run, right? Russell 2000 small caps there. Can we get back, right, to that previous high after the correction? Okay. So we'll move down. Let's take a look at our one. There, right? So now we're covering here. So we'll see if we can get pullbacks and continuations running off this level. Okay, there on the one, but overall, right on the daily, look at that. Right, when you're running that fib off the daily, look at that swing point there. Okay. Pretty nice setup. See if we can continue to make gains. All right. Any questions on the Russell 2000? It's all good. Good morning, Joy. All right. So that's where we are. Nice rallies, right? So again, if you're just joining us, right, had a good day, right, with the markets yesterday. So we look at the sector breakdown. We saw positive gains across the board. All right, across the board. Indices. Right? So that is the Russell 2000. Take a look at, right, German 40. Look at that, moving up. Right, that's our daily chart. So what we do is, hey, we're seeing this on the daily. We move down to our lower time frames, right? So if you're not involved, we move down to the 1 hour, the lower time frames to see, you know, can I catch a move? Right? Can we? Can we catch a pullback? Right? Coming off the lows, right? Can we get a pullback and a continuation, right? To move up. Okay, that's how I would play these. Right? So you can see how we put the low in, dipping, right? That one's sitting kind of high, right? That's a 236 bounce. So cash it's in the buy zone, right? See if we can get that to move back up to resistance there. Okay. Any questions, right? Overall across the board, we had a nice day yesterday. Moving long. Here's our semiconductor ETF SFH continuing to swing. Right, A6 pullback. Right, so we expect what 118 extension. Most likely, if we can get it to continue to rally, move into that daily resistance level. Any questions there?
No, sir.
All right. But you all can see, right? It's the pattern driven market. When you take a look at all of your charts, you can see that, hey, they all tend to move in the same direction quite often. Okay. So when you talk about being able to bring in, catch a lot of pips, right? That's how you could do it, right? Taking a look at your charts, taking the same approach to the charts from the top down, and you'll be able to find those patterns, right? And you get a clear picture of what's going on. So that's that on the indices. Let's take a look at our ETFs. Right. So we see here, right? If we take a look at, let's look at utilities, right? We can see it's continuing to move higher. Continuing to move higher. We're moving into the fall, right? Look at that push right here. So here's our recent low that was put in here, and we are moving up. So we saw zero slight gain yesterday, 0.22% on utilities, right? We're seeing it move up, but overall we have been bullish, right? So on this daily chart, we can run the fib to see exactly where we are. Okay. So we get through this resistance, we're gonna head to that D extension. Okay. So overall we are moving long. Here's the recent low. Okay. So making fairly good gains on that, right? Financial sector. Okay. Daily chart. Stochastic, right, is in the buy zone. Hasn't started to turn up quite yet. But here's that correction. Here's the low, right? So if we get that second candle to the right, we may continue to see a rally higher, right, with the financial sector. Okay. Moving to the upside, we'll see, right? So look, past here was a double top, has resistance becoming future support, right? That's pretty clean there. Can we hold at that level, that 44.10 level or so, right? We tried to push lower, and we couldn't. We couldn't. So this might be a good sound area to look for longs, right? If you're gonna trade them. Any questions there? No?
No,
All righty. All righty. What else had a good game yesterday? We'll take a look at let's look at the tech sector, right? Not quite 1%, but made some good gains. Couple down, right? XLK. Here we are on a daily. Look at that rally. Right? Look at that move to the upside. Okay. So let's walk it down, right? If we run that fib off this low here, Okay, you can see we're right at a 61.8 weekly support. Okay. So do we continue to see a rally led by the tech sector? Right? Is it time, right, for a full recovery there, right, to eventually move past the highs? Okay, so we'll move down to the 4 off that low. Okay, buying a dip, moving long. Any questions there? No?
Nope.
All righty, all righty. So let's look at we saw real estate 0.18% for this particular ETF. But there is which one is it? I can't think of it right now. Just had it in my mind and I lost it. I wanted to. Do I have it? Let's see. I'll come back to my thoughts on that one. So that's that there. Let me see. XLY, right? Because we're consumer discretionary, right? We saw a 1.13% gain there. So we want to take a look at that. Okay, you look at the daily, look at that move, everybody. Okay. How we're moving up off the lows. Daily chart. Let me go back and run this. See where we are. Right? So that's been a pretty good move, right? Consolidation breakout, moving higher, right? So if we could catch pullbacks on that, any type of pullbacks, and look for a continuation, right? So if we come down to the 4, charts moving long, right? Didn't even get a 382, is pushing higher. Buyers are definitely in control. We'll come down to the 1. Just been accelerating, right? Here's that breakout. So we look for pullbacks and continuations on that, right? So we drop down. That's just accelerating. Right? Trying to find out when that next correction will happen, but it's not giving us anything right now. But overall, right, consumer discretionary looking good to the upside. Right? And so I think that was the largest gain yesterday. No, we had communication services had a good day as well. So it came in second place, right? 1.13% on that gain. So that is looking good for continued upside move, at least back to resistance. Right? But if you're just following, right, those our swing highs and our swing lows, you can see, right? It's easy to see, right? Those moves moving along. Any questions there? No?
No, sir.
All right, all right. So let's move on. I wanted to take a look at the continued rally, right? At SCHG. Let's see. Yes. So, let's look at here. That's not a mistake when I had that one. Last one. Oh, which one do I want to do first? Let's look at IWF, right? So this is the Russell 1000 growth ETF through iShares. Okay. And we can see here, right? So we saw the Russell 2000, but this, right, this IWF, so you're looking at a breakdown where you have, what's in this breakdown? So I'll pull this over on my screen, right? So you can see the holdings, right? So just different allocations, right? So we saw the Russell 2000, we took a look at that. This is the Russell 1000 iShares Growth ETF, right? And we're going over these, everybody, because now, right, we have these, you guys have been members for quite some time. And when we tell you that you can take the same approach no matter the asset class, right? We really mean that, right? So it's time to move on, right? And continue to move forward with the progression. You know, a lot of you have been with us for quite some time. You have the technicals down fundamentally, right? You're getting a really good grasp, you know, on the key factors and things to look for, right? So now we move on, right, to being able to trade other asset classes. If that's okay with everybody, drop me a one in the chat. Right. So we went over, right? We did the training, right? As a precursor, right? In regards to how to calculate, right? You can use a calculator. How do we did a training on the breakdown. So as long as your math is right and calculating your risk, right, you can move in and you can trade these. So this is the breakdown. So this Russell 1000 growth ETF, right? You can see here Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet Classic A, right? Google, Eli Lilly, right? C class for Alphabet, Google, Broadcom, Tesla, right? And so you can see there's a ton, but these are your tops on the first page. You can see the weights, right? Apple, right? Apple is weighted at 12%, right? It's got the highest weight. And then there's a ton of them, right? You move on to page 2, you can see, right? Major companies that we all know. And you can see here with the rally that occurred, okay? You can see the move. And you can clearly see that it moves just like anything else. That's the amazing thing with the market, right? So there's the fib level, came to the edge of the buy zone. This is the daily chart, right? And so here, there's the low, right? If you're just playing swing highs, swing lows, there's your low. Pretty easy, right? So if you're waiting for daily highs and lows to form, and you like using a higher time frame, it's just, hey, it's a cleaner look. It's a lot quieter on the daily, right? You just put your stop right below the low. Right? 2 candles to the right. Looking to buy. Make sense? Yes, no? Yeah,
Yep.
thumbs up.
Yep.
All right. All right. So if you have that patience, right? So right, we move down to the 4. Okay, and we see where we are. We can see where we are. So okay, look. So in that case, we did what? We put our stop right below the C in this scenario. Okay? And it's running. Now, if we're running off this 4-hour fib, Here's our extension. So you can see that no matter what approach you take, you can be successful, right? You can be successful. All right, all right. So that's where we are there. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
All righty. Okay. Let's take a look at another one, right? Let's look at IVW. Right. So this is your iShares that tracks this tracks the S&P, right? Okay. This is the daily chart. Right? So once again, right, if you track it swing highs and swing lows, you're here, right? That's what I was remarking. So uh let me do this one real quick. This is your iShares S&P 500 growth ETF. Okay? So now it's like I could go through all these different assets and find my setup, right? I've got the education now. Now I can scroll through, and then technically I can find my setup, my sweet spots, what I like to trade, and I can take the same approach no matter what. Right? So I'm literally going through my charts, looking for the same. Right? I don't have to veer off course. Either it's there or it's not. Whether it's currencies, indices, ETFs, commodities, I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking for the same scenarios, right? So now the markets, these other asset classes, okay, are not so scary. Yeah. But you got to do the work because you just can't take it from Benny and Ryan. You have to know, without a doubt, that you're taking the right approach. You have to believe in yourself. Okay, no shortcuts. All right. So this is the daily. Daily stochastics in the buy zone. Yeah. Not hard, right? Not hard. Yeah. Bullish. So let me this over. So here's your S&P growth ETF. You can see the weight. Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. Yeah. Okay, that's what we're looking like. Okay. A little bit of everything. And now we know how these works, right? So I could go down and trade the individual stocks as well. Right? You guys can find this using TradingView, you're using Smart Trader, MT4, MT5. Look, you can find these stocks to trade individually. Right? Do your research. Okay. On the companies. Eli Lilly Healthcare. Right? All right. So that's that. What else? Let's look at IHI. Okay. That's my 4 hour. We'll work our way up to the daily. Does anybody know what this is? What type of ETF this is? No takers?
No, I don't.
All right. It is a medical device ETF.
Ooh.
It is a medical device ETF. Right. And we'll move this up to the daily. Okay. Long. So this is where we are. This is the recent low. And you can see we're breaking through the highs. Okay. This is the next level here, right? So we're making pretty good move. Okay. There. So let's look at this. So the holdings, right? Medical device ETF, Abbott Laboratories, right? Intuitive Surgical, right? Abbott's in is weighted at 17%, right? Stryker, Boston Scientific, right? Medtronic. Isn't the market's amazing, right? You can trade all you can trade all of these companies, right? You can always find something to trade, right? So, right, we are moving along here. Okay, had a breakout. So you can see, right, if we come off these lows here, look at this crown action here, right? This reversal pattern. Look at that. It's that beautiful one. Right? The beautiful move moving up there. Took out the high, pulled back, broke trend line, and moved. Right? Oops. And now let's get but sticking up a bit. You can see how that moved up. There. Beautiful. So that's where we are there. All right. Tyrone drops some sevens. That's it. That's it. That's it. Right? So some new things to trade, some new things to trade, right? To pay attention to, right? If you're working at, long-term portfolios, stuff like that. Okay. Right. Look at the allocation, right? Look at the allocation and then make your move. So that's IHI. What is, let me see. I want to look at uh, uh, take a look. Anyway, I can't. There was another one that I was looking at too, but let's look at IYR, right? This real estate ETF, right? Let's look at this one, right? So this is a real estate ETF here, right? And we're moving long, right? To the upside. Man, I can't remember the one in it. There's another one too, but that's okay. So we'll look at this one. This is moving bullish, right? So we can see real estate, right? Slight increase yesterday. But we can see here this particular ETF is moving right? 102. Right? So the markets are tracking pretty good right now. Okay. So uh-oh. There we go. All right. So we are pushing bullish there off the lows. Do we have another high coming in prior to that? Hopefully we don't. So let's see if that can continue to run long. I do want to look at before we close out, take a look at our commodities. Right. So if we look at our oil play, our 80/20, seems like hey, it's trying to run the target. But hey, we've got a resistance level just prior to that 382. So pay attention to that in case we get a reaction back to the downside. But we're looking good there. If we come in and we take a look at gold, we're not far off that target, everybody. All right. 2600 target. Not looking bad. That level that we drew up held, right? That level held. It's a good move for us. It's a good play. Stay disciplined, right? So you should be seeing gains in that, whether you're trading gold versus the dollar, or if you're trading, one of the gold ETFs. You know, I took 100 pips from gold and silver, right? So we're looking good there. We're closing in on 2600. The silver play, right? Continuing to move long. Looking good there on that swing. We're on it. We're on it. Lots of opportunities, right? And right, that gas continuing to push higher. We got through that level. Got through that level, right? Got through that level there. My man Jeremy said, "Hey, I'm holding it. I'm holding it." Right? Caught this one on the pullback. Great job. All right, and then here is the GDX, gold, right? Like I said, you should be seeing gains with gold across the board. That's it. That's it. I know we covered a lot, everybody. But hey, Ryan, anything before we close out, sir?
No, sir. Great session, man. Appreciate you as always.
All right, everybody, enjoy your Friday. We will see you here tomorrow, right? For the Forex weekly ritual. Always remember, don't just count your pips, but make sure that you count those blessings. Have a great day, everybody.